Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I'm really excited about making this video because I think that it's going to prompt me to make some changes in my life, which, I think that change is good. And change is something that for a long time I really resisted against. Any time that somebody would suggest for me to do something that meant major change in my life, I was like, oh no, I don't like this. I'm a creature of comfort. I don't want to change things. And just to give you guys a story, years ago when I worked in a treatment facility, we had certain days that we had family visitations. And we had one day that we had family visitations. And on that day, it also coincided with a family group. So we would have family visitation and then family group. Well, my supervisor decided, and I at the time was kind of like the lead counselor, my supervisor decided that she was going to start doing family groups twice a week. So she was going to have visitation twice a week. But what that meant was that I was going to have to do family group twice a week, as well as my, co-counselor. She was going to have to do family group twice a week. So I was Tuesday through Saturday. She was Sunday through Thursday. Sunday through Thursday? I don't know. Yeah. She was Sunday through Thursday. I was Tuesday through Saturday. Something like that. Anyway, so our days were going to be, she was going to do hers on Thursdays and Sundays, and I was going to do mine on, no. It doesn't matter. But anyway, so we were going to have 2 days a week each that we did them, right? Well, I really was okay with how we were doing things because I didn't want to have to do a whole other group, number one. Number two, she added this whole stipulation in there that if you did not attend the family group, you could not come to the family visitation, right? And so what that meant was that those people that wanted to just come and visit and then take off, they weren't allowed to do that. So family group was going to be first, followed by family visitation afterwards. And I was like, oh, I don't think this is a good idea, because I knew that a lot of parents were going to start complaining about it. A lot of family members, spouses, things like that were going to complain, right? So I was like, I don't want to do this. So she and I were talking about it, and she's like, what's your resistance about this? She's like, it's just going to improve our family program, yada, 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 on and on. And I was like, it's a lot of work, blah, 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 whatever. And she was like, listen, she was like, you right now are like at the top. I need you to not challenge this and just go along with it. She's like, Peter, I know you're resistant to change. You don't ever like to change anything, but listen, I think that you'll end up really liking this. Well, I was like, So when your supervisor says we're doing something, you do it, right? I don't know about everybody else out there, but when I was told to do something, I just did it. So we implement this new family group, and it was, okay, my nights were, I did Thursday and Saturday, and the other counselor did Thursday and Sunday. So those were our nights. Before, it had just been, I think, Tuesday nights was when our family group was. So anyway, so we changed all this, and I ended up absolutely loving the family program. And in fact, got to meet a lot of people that I never would have met because they wouldn't have come up here for the, the family group anyway. And it ended up becoming this very, very cool experience for me. And in fact, it was one of the things that I loved the most about working at that treatment facility. So a lot of times when I question change, I just need to float with the universe and do it, right? Because I'm going to learn a lot from that. And that has been my experience in life. Whenever I have taken some healthy risks and made some changes in my life, I've learned a lot from that experience, if that makes sense. And so, about 10 years ago, it was probably a year after Alex and I met, because it was with a friend of ours that we met together. It was actually the first friend of ours, was my friend Brittany, and it was the first friend that we met together. And the reason why she's an important friend to us is because she is also the person that officiated our wedding. And the reason that we chose her was because we met her one night. Oh, Brittany, it's kind of a funny story. So she was our waitress at Cheesecake Factory, and I've told this story in my vlog before, but at that time she was also Miss Indiana USA. And so we got introduced to the whole pageant world because of her, and she just became just such a dear, dear friend. She's just a phenomenal person. She's one of the neatest, most spiritually minded people I've ever met. She's so positive. She just is challenging to the point of where I love you, so I'm going to challenge you. And she has she has done a lot with her life, and I'm very, very proud of her. And one time she ran a anti-bullying non-for-profit because of her own experiences. And she now, I think, her title is that she is the director. I could be wrong, but I believe that her title is that she is the director of Miss Ireland Universe. So she's still very much in the pageant system. She at one point was termed a supermodel by, what's his name? The guy that says, Champagne Living, or whatever his name was. But anyway, she's worked for a lot of major modeling companies like Wilhelmina, and she's just She is somebody that sets goals for her life and achieves them, and she is just one of the coolest people I've ever met. And I love you, Brittany, if you're by any chance watching this, which I'm sure she's not. But anyway, so about, I'd say 8 or 9 years ago, I was sitting and I was talking to her one night, and when I was on the front porch talking to her, and she was on the phone, and at the time she was living in Las Vegas, and I said, you know, like, what's going on, and blah, 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 and she's like, you know, well, what's going on with you? Like, I hear all these things you want to do. You want to write a book, and you want to do this, and I said, well, I know, blah, blah, blah. And she said, you read The Secret, didn't you? And I said, yeah, and I you know, it's kind of old ideas brought back new again. And she's like, do you not believe in it? And I said, what? The power of, you know, the power of attraction? I said, yeah, I absolutely do believe that. But I believe that the whole idea of power of attraction, you have to put work into it. And she goes, oh yeah, like you can't just say, I want the, like, you know, to drive a Porsche Cayenne and it's going to happen to you. You know what I mean? Like, that's not just going to happen, which was actually back then, like, one of my test things for The Secret. I know, superficial and stupid, right? In retrospect. But she said, where do you keep your list of the things that your goals in your life? And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, you don't have a list of things you keep? She has gone on since and given me some fantastic books to read. She, like, very, very metaphysical kind of books that she is, you know, like The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, fantastic book, is one of the greatest books ever that I've read. And Many Lives, Many Masters, I think it's by Brian Weiss. He's a psychiatrist. Was one of the most powerful books I've ever read. So she is always giving me book ideas, and I love her for that. She said, do you have a list of all of the goals, you know, that you want to achieve? And I said, you know, every year I kind of make a list of goals, and, you know, I make a list of, you know, at that time I was making New Year's resolutions. I don't believe in resolutions anymore. I believe in goals. And she goes, well, where do you keep it? And I said, I don't know. It's around here somewhere. And she said, put it in your phone and read it several times a day. And I go, okay, why? And she goes, because you have to rehearse what you want your life to look like. Like, you have to read it and really believe that these things are possible for you, or you have no idea where you're going. How do you know where you're going in life and what you want if you don't have the map, you know, charted out somewhere? And I was like, okay. So a month goes by, and she and I are sitting there talking again, and, you know, she's telling me all these wonderful things that are happening to her. And I said, I said, what's going on? She goes, Peter, I read my list every day, and I put into action the things I want to do to make those things happen. Like, they just don't, you know. I go, listen, Brittany. I go, okay, you're 6 foot. You're gorgeous. I said, you know, you're very charming. You're educated. I said, things just come naturally for you, okay? I said, I am not the person that can walk into a room and demand everybody's attention. And she was silent on the other end, and she's like, you know, she goes, that's saying a lot. She was like, if you think those are the reasons why things just happen to me, she goes, that's not the case. I've worked my ass off, and she has worked her ass off. And she goes, if you aren't even willing to do the work I'm asking you to do by reading the list, see, this is where you got to remain teachable, okay? And she said, if you aren't even willing to do the work that I am telling you to do by just reading a damn list 3 or 4 times a day, how do you think it's even possible one bit that things are going to happen for you? She said, Peter, you are somebody that has stayed clean and sober for a long time over a major addiction. She said, you have had healthy relationships in your life. You have good relationships with your family. You've mended all those relationships. She goes, you know, you've done all of these things. You've got a master's degree. You've worked really hard. Why do you think that these dreams that you have aren't possible? And she goes, how many times this month have you read your list? And I said, I don't know. And she goes, how many times this week? And I said, none. And she goes, so you have no idea on a regular basis, like, what your dreams are. How are you going to make them possible? She said, I love you so much. And I'm paraphrasing all this, but she said, I love you, Peter. She goes, I love you so much. She goes, please give yourself the same opportunity that I would give you. And so, you know, we got off the phone, I started thinking about it, and I went back and I revised my list, and I made a lot of things on there that, you know, some of them were superficial. And some of them were not. Some of them were very spiritual things. But, you know, one of the things on there was paying off my debt, you know, and stuff like that. Or, you know, like redoing parts of the house, or, you know, having a better relationship with my husband. And so 2 nights ago, I was sitting there and I was like looking through this list, and I was like, I still had it on my phone. And I was like, I have achieved everything on this list, and there were 20 things, okay? I have literally achieved everything on this list, with the exception of one thing. And I was like, and the one thing that I haven't achieved is write more than 1 book. And I was like, this is really powerful, right? Like, her words are still resonating to me, and she is still just accomplishing dream after dream after dream, and she is a hard-ass worker, I know that, right? And She is somebody that truly, like, we want to talk about self-made women. She is somebody that comes from nothing and has made something of her life, and I'm very, very proud of her for it. And so I was thinking about Brittany, and I was thinking about the advice that she gave me, and when I took her advice last time, you know, like, my life just kind of completely changed. And, you know, if I had never made that list, and it was not on there to be YouTube famous, or, I mean, I'm joking, but, you know, like, that wasn't on there. But, you know, there were things on there that were kind of related to doing YouTube that I didn't even see at the time, that YouTube was an outlet for my dreams to happen. So when BookTube kind of started, and then I started doing YouTube on other channels, it's like these other dreams were kind of made possible as a result of this that I never even thought was going to be out there. And like I've said before, I really do believe that there is this string of life that kind of weaves things together, you know? Whoever knew that a beauty queen from Anderson, Indiana, who is my waitress at Cheesecake Factory, would become one of my greatest mentors in my entire life, you know? And she's, you know, I think she's like 15 years my junior, and she's been one of the greatest mentors I've ever had, you know? There's a Buddhist saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I totally believe that. You know, you have to be prepared when people come to you with lessons. No matter who it is, you have to be willing to remain teachable, because you never know, you know, where the lesson could come for you. And she's been somebody that has taught me time and time again, and I'm grateful for that. I very much believe that the secret works. I believe that it works in this way, is that we have to make a list of those things that we want. We have to stay cognizant of that list and read it on a regular basis. We have to figure out what action we need to put into making those dreams happen, and then the dreams happen. I'm very, very happy to sit here and say that I am at a point, I could get real emotional about this, where it's time for me to dream a bigger dream and make a different list. And no, I'm not leaving YouTube. That's not what this is about. To sit here as somebody that almost flunked out of high school, that never thought he'd make it past 20 years old from the drugs and alcohol, and had no relationships with my family growing up because it was so disastrous and I had no friends. To sit here where I'm at today and have accomplished 19 out of my 20 goals, to be clean and sober, to have people in my life that love me, and to have the most amazing life possible, a life beyond my wildest dreams, to sit here and say that I have to make another list of dreams because I've already gone through one is pretty powerful, you know? And I want that for you guys. I want you to be able to have that exact same life that you can sit on, you know, camera, or tell your best friend or your mom or your grandma or whoever, I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. Make a list of those things that you want in your life. Make a roadmap for what you want your life to look like. Believe in yourself. Believe it's possible for you. Find a cheerleader, like my friend Brittany was for me, that will tell you that these things are possible if you believe in yourself just enough. And every day, read your list and put action to the things on it. And one day, you too will be able to say, I live a life beyond my wildest dreams. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.